Welcome back to another episode of the Your Houston podcast. This is Mario Castillo, the Executive Director for Your Houston. Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel to catch all of our episodes. Today, we're speaking with Samara Rosen. We're going to learn all about the work that Celebration Company does for folks in the disability community and about the ReelAbilities Festival that's going on right now, featuring music, art, and movies. We've got a lot to talk about, so we'll get right to it with Samara.
I feel the liftoff. The clock has started. Roger.
Well, Samara, thank you so much for being here to chat with us. Before we get into our conversation, we're going to ask you a few questions to get to know you a little better.
Okay.
And we'll start with your favorite restaurant in Houston.
Oh, that's a hard question. Very much. Houston's such a food scene city.
Yep.
Very much so. So, that's so hard. My favorite Cajun restaurant is Boudreaux's. And so I could say that hands down. All the rest are much harder to pin down.
Yes, they are. Well, you know, it's crawfish season now, so.
Oh, yeah. That'd be yummy to eat there.
People could be looking for some Cajun recommendations, so that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we'll be talking about a film festival later. So we're going to ask you a movie-themed question here. Mm-hmm. What is your favorite movie that was shot or set in Houston?
Rushmore by Wes Anderson is hands down it. It opened my eyes to how a film is made because all of his scenes look like they're right next to each other, and I recognize a bunch of the cities and places in that movie. So I realized that it's not right across the street typically, except St. John's and Lamar are. So that was an exception.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So for movie buffs out there, they'll have to check out Rushmore, set in Houston, and also a unique filming style.
Yes.
Okay. So as an artist, what inspires you?
So I sew lace and I create sculptures out of that. And then I also collect nature materials and I create a collection of leaves and bark, and I organize it in different ways. And so I look a lot at nature and the way that nature and plants form and grow.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that's, there's a lot of inspiration there. If you can just get out and see some plants, go for a walk through the Arboretum or something like that, you can draw from a number of things there.
Yes. Yeah. And the library and all of our museums are just fabulous for the art scene. Very much so.
Okay.
So
great. Last question. What was the most recent art gallery that you visited?
It was the Rice Center for their fiber art show, that Moody. And so it was really exciting to see so many fiber works in one spot in Houston, because it's not often that occurs.
Is that still going on?
It is still going on.
Well, if anyone's interested in checking out some fiber works.
Yes. And it's all international, and there's a few local folks as well that are in it. So it was very exciting to see. Okay.
Well, glad to get to know you a little more. And we're going to be talking today about Celebration Company, which is where you work as the manager for Center of Art Photography.
Yes.
And then also Jewish Family Services. So could you start by telling us the relationship between Celebration Company and Jewish Family Services?
Yes. So JFS, or Jewish Family Service, recently had a name change, and so it's now the Alexander Jewish Family Service.
Okay.
And so the Alexanders are an amazing family that has donated so much resources and time to JFS for us to be able to help the community. So JFS has a bunch of different departments. They have a mental health and behavioral service program. They have employment services. They have senior services. They have disability services as well.
Okay.
And so each one of those departments works together. Then also there's disaster relief. So whenever a hurricane happens, we're often one of the first people on call to help out. And so we're also a United Way funded agency, and as well as a Jewish Federation funded as well. And so we get proceeds coming in through the United Way to help distribute to people who are in need. We also help with folks of all abilities who need employment. So regular people that just have graduated schools, or people who've lost a job, or people who are have a disability that it would be harder for them to find employment otherwise. And so Celebration Company is part of the disability services. And so we service folks who have cognitive disabilities, and we offer employment to them in hopes that they will be given jobs outside of the community. And so we've successfully had a few people leave the program because they've gained jobs out in the community. And it's so exciting when they get that as well.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So what brought you to the Celebration Company?
Well, so my mom made handmade paper with them. And so they would turn that handmade paper into greeting cards. And so whenever I would come home from school breaks, I would always volunteer and spend my time with them. And then after I graduated, I started working there more often, and then my parents left and I would leave with them, and they offered me a job, so I stayed.
Well, look at that.
Yes.
So you've seen the program from an early age, and now you're working there as a program manager?
Yes. And so I started when the program had maybe 10 people, and now we're up to 30.
Oh, wow.
So it's grown a lot, and we're busting at the seams. And so we're actually opening up a second location coming up soon in the west side of Houston. So that way we can service that community as well.
Okay. And so you're growing and expanding. Are there ways for people who want to be involved as like a volunteer or to support? What can be done there?
Yeah, so we have lots of volunteer opportunities, both directly with all the employees. We call them employees that come to Celebration Company because they all make minimal wage, which is wonderful because otherwise they get sub-minimal, and it's based off of how they work. And so we decided to scrap it, and everyone gets minimum wage, which is wonderful because usually folks who have disabilities do not get that. And so you could volunteer and so we have opportunities where they are tutoring some of our folks to understand money skills and how to make change, or simple arithmetic, or even reading comprehension as well. Because a few of the things we take for advantage of and for granted, it comes to a struggle for some of them as well. We also would like partnerships too, so that way we could have internship sites. So some of our folks could work at some coffee shops, and we have partnered with Houston Pecan Company and some restaurants as well to have internships through them, as well as table skirts and linens and other places that help in the larger community. And then also we could be supported through the purchase of our artwork and products. And so all of that could be purchased through our website as well as our retail store, which is store.celebrationcompany.org.
Okay.
And then last but not least, you could also purchase artwork for your office spaces as well. And with all of the artwork that's purchased, you get a bit of a bio beside it as well. So you get to learn about the artist.
Oh, that's wonderful. So what kind of items are available on the retail store?
Well, so we have everything from cards to to candles, to artwork, Seder plates, to lots of glass. Since we're a Jewish organization, we celebrate, that's where most of the funding comes from, is our Hanukkah candles and Shabbat candles. But we create bags with their artwork on them as well. So if someone can't afford the original artwork, they could then maybe afford it on a coin purse or on something else. So that way they have a little bit of celebration company with them, and they could still be supportive in that way.
All right. And that's on the website. So we'll be sure to put a link up so people can check that out.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And then for our art crawl and for our art opening, we do pop-up shops. So all of that will be there as well.
You mentioned an art crawl. Do you have more information on that?
Yes. So our artwork is up at Sabine Street Studios until March 18th. But on February 16th, on Thursday, from 6 to 9 p.m., we will be having our artwork open to the public in the evening, and we'll be having a pop-up shop there. So that way, if the artwork you want is already purchased, or you'd want it on, or it's too expensive, you could have it on smaller items or on cutting boards. So that way it's accessible to everyone. And our visiting artist, John Bramblett, will be painting live. And he is from Dallas, and he's blind, and he creates these wonderful, vibrant paintings. And so I have lots of questions about how he paints without being able to see. And so I'm very excited to hear that and to see it in being painted. And then we'll also have artists in Sabine Street Studios open up their doors as well.
You mentioned about minimum wage and how, is it the volunteers that get paid a minimum wage?
No, our employees. So the people that participate in Celebration Company.
Gotcha. But not all of them would make minimum wage regularly?
Yes, because of Texas and the disability community. So like an example is Goodwill. Okay. Where they time because otherwise you would have to time employees of how long it takes a typical person to fold a box or to put stickers on something. And then you would compare it to that person with the disability. And then if they're able to do it if they need more time to do it, they would get paid a lot less.
Wow.
So some people might get paid $1. And so it's significant that we were able to have it where they're paid minimum wage now.
I had no idea that was even a thing in terms of paying folks with a disability.
But one of the things that JFS does offer on the state level is they have an advocacy program where they have a group of folks who have disabilities that bring proposals to the state, to Austin, to have change happen.
Well, it's great that y'all are setting an example and saying we're going to pay everyone the minimum wage, even though the law may allow for different wages, because that to me that's very shocking to learn.
Yeah, it's a hard thing because they also have to balance not to be paid too much as well, because they'll lose their benefits through Medicare or Medicaid and their Social Security, and a lot of them depend on that as well. Yeah. So.
Well, that's good information to know, and it's good for y'all to be setting that example. So, can you talk to us about the ReelAbilities Film Festival?
Yes. So, ReelAbilities Film Festival is a film festival in Houston that is in. It's happening the whole month of February, starting from the 5th, which opened with our art exhibition celebration, and ends on the 23rd of February with the Real Music Festival. And so with Real Music, we hire musicians with disabilities to perform amongst those who don't have a disability as well. So that way they perform drums or they start singing, and it's just a celebration of what everyone could do, which is wonderful. And that's the same with the artwork too, because they're so genuine and it's just such a nice opportunity. And so the film festival itself is the meat of the program, and that's where everything sprung up from. And so they are offering films that either feature people with disabilities or are about them. And so they might be actors that are in it that have a disability, or it would be about little people or things like that. And then we have 2 speakers. We have something called ReelAbilities, which is like the equivalent of TED Talks, but for the speakers have disabilities. And so we have 2 this year. One is Dr. Jennifer Arnold, and she is a little person, and she's going to be talking about her experience as that. And then the other one is John Bramblett, which is our visiting artist this year that we're featuring. And he creates these amazing paintings, and he's blind. And so I'm very excited to see what he talks about. And also, he will be painting live and giving a demonstration at the Art Crawl on Thursday evening, February 16th from 6 to 9 p.m. at Sabine Street Studios.
Okay. And so if you want to, I mean, that's a lot of really great programming there. If you want to participate, do you buy a ticket online, or how does that work?
So most of the events are free because we want to make it inclusive and very easy for everyone to participate. The only one that costs anything is the ReelAbilities, which is the equivalent of the TED Talks. And so we just ask for you to register so we could have a head count beforehand. And so you could go to ReelAbilitiesHouston.org to register.
And does that include the movies?
Yes. That is for the movies as well. And so the movies this year are going to be at Edwards Cinema at off of Wesleyan, and it will be free, and there will be parking validation as well to have a barrier-free festival.
Wonderful.
Yes.
That sounds like it's going to be a great, time for the music, for the movies, for the art, and for the TED Talk style.
Yes.
Presentations.
Yeah. And so one of the other things that ReelAbilities does is they also have workplace inclusion as well. And so they give talks about that. And then they also reach out to school groups too. So that way everyone is being taught about inclusion and what disabilities are and how to make it a more inclusive environment for everyone. And one of the really neat things about the films is that if you are blind, they have audio descriptions that they give out for those folks. And then they also have subtitles with descriptions of what's happening in each scene for those who are deaf. So that way it's a very inclusive of all abilities.
So y'all really go the extra mile to make it inclusive and barrier free.
Yes. And so that's the same with the speakers too. There's always someone who is signing, and then also with text too. So that way everyone could participate.
That's excellent. And I hope that, there's a lot of support and attendance out there for the ReelAbilities events this year. We deal with a lot of quality of life issues here at Your Houston. Do you see an impact with folks that participate at the Celebration Company or at the ReelAbilities festivals on quality of life issues just in their day to day?
Can you give examples, please?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
So we're talking more of very neighborhood type issues like sidewalks, like streetlights, parks, ramps to get into buildings and out of buildings. For driving, there's a lot of push right now to change the lanes to make them smaller, narrower, add bike lanes to the street. Those things, they all impact just sort of your everyday life in Houston.
Yeah. So they have those issues as well for transportation. And a lot of them depend on like Metrolift to take them. And so they're not as independent as we are able to be. And so we do offer some transportation as well, but we also offer assistance if they need help setting up the Metrolifts. And we have case managers at JFS to help with that as well, to make it more inclusive and easy for folks to get from place to place.
Well, it sounds like y'all really do think about, as much as you can to assist and to help and provide comprehensive services to the community, which that's, fantastic work. And I hope that, our listeners will check out the retail store, support, show up to the ReelAbilities Festival. What was the website again for information?
For ReelAbilities, it's ReelAbilitiesHouston.org. And for Celebration Company, it's store.celebrationcompany.org.
Great. Is there anything else you want to share with us about Celebration Company or about ReelAbilities?
Okay. So we had an exciting partnership that just happened in the late fall of last year, where we partnered with Village Medical. And so in all of their clinics that they're opening up, they will be having Celebration Company artwork in them nationwide.
Wow.
And so it's very exciting to see that and to have that happen. And so the proceeds from that is going to lower their tuition and to make it more barrier-free to be part of the program. So it's very exciting, and we would love to have more opportunities like that as well.
Congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that. That is very exciting. And hopefully someone out there listening will want to partner with the Celebration Company as well for more artwork in companies, offices, buildings.
Mm-hmm. That would be lovely. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you for being here and for sharing all this great information. And we'll be sure to promote the festival and the websites on our podcast.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Samara, for taking time to speak with us today. We've learned so much about the Celebration Company, the ReelAbilities Festival, and Alexander Jewish Family Services. Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel so that you catch all of our latest episodes. And if you have time this month, stop by the ReelAbilities Festival and participate in the art, the music, or the movies. We'll be back soon with another episode. Thanks for watching.